Rob?
Hello everyone, welcome to Rob's Rogues and the BatmanUniverse.net. Today we're taking a look at something really cool. The DC Comics Superheroes Lego Set 76045, Kryptonite Interception. It is, of course, the Batman vs. Superman Lego Batmobile with LexCorp tow motor drivers and Kryptonite. I've got to think this is probably a sequence in the movie. I would almost have to guarantee it, just because of, you know, what it's depicting right here. Like, why would they have Batman going up against a forklift? Is it something in the movie that this is how Batman gets his hands on Kryptonite? Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor have a discussion about, you know, he's got this rock from Krypton. It could be something that having to do with Superman. So Batman decides, well, hey, thanks, Lex, and then Batman goes to go steal some of the Kryptonite. So it's just a guess, a theory that I have about the set. And normally the Lego sets are pretty faithful into a sequence of the movie. And sometimes some of the Lego sets do end up spoiling some movies just due to the little minifigures or the scene of the product that they come out with. So I don't think it would be an overly big spoiler. I don't think there's anybody out there that wouldn't be surprised that Batman wouldn't get a hold of Kryptonite somehow, or unless Batman's trying to save Superman by making sure Lex doesn't use Kryptonite. So I've had this set for a while. I think I even did a haul video where I had this up here before. I have just recently reviewed these guys here from Batman vs. Superman, the Bat Signal and the Armored Batman and Superman version. I want to get the Batwing, the biggest BVS Lego set, so I think that'd be pretty cool to get a hold of. I'll take a look at the rest of the box here. Looks pretty cool, and I like how they treated it like a comic book with the different panels and the working parts here on the tow motor. The forklift goes up and down. I drive one at work from time to time, so I thought that was kind of cool. Definitely excited to get this Batmobile. I have another Lego Batmobile set that I've had for a while now. It's this one, and I would have thought that I would have reviewed it before now, the Lego Riddler chase here with the Flash, Riddler, and Batman. So I have two Lego Batmobiles, which can never have too many Batmobiles. So it'll be pretty cool to see which is the bigger one. I've got a feeling the Riddler chase Batmobile might be a little bit bigger. But anyway, enough rambling. Let's get this out of package, and we'll take a look at all the guts. Then we'll go into the high-speed action of me putting together this set, and then the review of the Lego set. We'll be right back. All right, we've got everything all out here. We've got the two books. So here's the first one's probably the tow motor and the minifigures, and then the bigger, thicker book for the Batmobile. All 56 pages? No, I'm sorry, 70 pages to actually put it all together, where the character and tow motor book is only 22. This is interesting. Now, with it having a Batman vs. Superman little mini comic book here, there wasn't one in this particular set right here. I half wonder if this is not the vague overview story of the movie. I kind of get that feeling from here, and wouldn't it be funny or odd if this kind of spoiled the movie for me a little bit? So I flipped through it myself and was kind of looking through some stuff here. Unless they're just doing the comic book of like, okay, we're going to do a little scene right here for this particular Lego set, then this particular one, and this one. I kind of got the feeling it might be kind of sort of the action beats of the movie. So if you want to see this, let's see what's inside of here. I will put it at the very end after the credits. And I will probably even do a voiceover with this of kind of what I'm seeing. So I'm not going to open it here other than what I quickly did. Here's a quick little view. There you are. Good. All right. So this will be after the credits. If you don't want to know what's in here, I kind of flipped through it really quick. We'll see. So anyway, this is a stage where we're going to go into high speed while we put all of these together. A set of stickers right here. I've got my Dr. Pepper Batman vs. Superman Batman can, which I filmed the quote-unquote review for the Wonder Woman set. I'm going to edit in Batman, and I have a Superman can as well. So, take a quick drink here. Tastes like justice. Okay, here we go. We will go put this together in high speed in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Batman! Okay, here we go with the high speed here. It's always weird like doing the voice commentary for these. The first bag here has the minifigures of Batman and one of the Lex Luthor thugs or the tow motor driver. This by far was one of the longest ones that I had shot. I think the whole entire process took me an hour and a half, close to 2 hours. I had to stop the camera a couple times, and there'll be a couple different spots here where you see me just kind of, with the going by high speed, you may not notice it as much, but there were a couple times where I was like, I don't know where in the heck this piece goes. There is the rubber band that holds the tow motor forklift up and down. It's always in an up position, so I talk about it in the review portion of this. There's the Kryptonite. This goes by pretty quick here, but the forks stay in an up position, so that way you can push them down. There's the other minifigure right there for the gunner, as it were. I think Batman has already passed up to this point. He was in the first set, so the guy that was it would have been kind of interesting to see Batman with the Batmobile, but he was in the first set with the tow motor driver. Anyway, we really don't care about this. The Batmobile was the hardest thing to put together. The book is pretty good at telling you where things go for the most part, but pieces that are black or dark gray, they don't distinguish it really well. And I do talk about it in the review portion, but there's never like, okay, here's 3 pieces. This piece goes here, and there's not an arrow pointing down to said piece. When I get to the tires, that was one of the parts that I had the most trouble with. Is I thought there should have been a spacer that went in a side of there. There's a middle section that you kind of see me fiddle with every now and then. I missed 2 pieces of a Lego. Every now and then you'll see me spin it around to the back and look where the exhaust port comes out. And I'm constantly having to put this little section back in, and I missed 2 pieces. You can kind of see they're up in the middle. They're gray, and they're kind of like half domes. But every time I was putting like a support structure underneath, I would knock this little piece out. And again, I'll explain in the review portion of it. Trying to get these fins on was a little rough to try and do. There are the wheels. I put the wheels on 2 different ways, and I had the hubcaps in the wrong spot. With having gray hubcaps and black hubcaps, it really didn't denote to go, well, I can't tell if this is light gray or dark gray or what the actual piece was. And we're getting really close to the end here. Again, the wheels were the hardest thing to put on. I'll talk about the little spacer in the actual review portion of it, but there we go. All right, here we are with the DC Superheroes Batman vs. Superman Set 2. This is Lego Set 76045. This is the Kryptonite Chase, I believe is what it's called. I'm getting my Kryptonite Interception. So, like I said, at the end of this video, I'm going to look at the little comic book that came out. So, again, I'm going to say spoilers after the credits roll that I have is when I'll talk about the comic. So, this is a really cool set. I really want to get the Batwing version of it that has, Superman and Lex and Lois Lane. There's a different Superman in that set. He's got his red boots on. This is like your middle of the ground, a middle of the road set. I already did the Clash of the Heroes set, which is Superman and Batman right here. Superman was off to the side. So this is about your $12 to $13 set. Maybe even closer to 20, I can't quite remember. But right around, you know, maybe 15, 16 bucks, something like that. And then you get into the $30 to $40 range, and then the $50 to $60 range is the Batwing. So you have, like, you know, different levels to get. So really cool set, and it was cool to have a Batmobile. And I would have thought, like I said in the early part of the review, that I would have put my other Batmobile together, so I could have had both of them set up here at the same time. But this Batmobile will make an appearance in my other Lego Batmobile review. This is a really cool set. I was glad to have, you know, Batman and the Batmobile in this set. And it's really kind of cool to have the LexCorp tow motor, which where I work, I drive one of these bad boys every day. So the safety issue in me as I look at this goes, you're never supposed to drive with your load up in the air because you could tip over. You're always supposed to drive with your load down for safe hauling. So see, something like that could happen. Then you got to fill out an OSHA form and all that type of stuff, and you could lose your job. So don't be driving with your forklifts up in the air. But this is really cool. So since we were messing with the forklift, and you can kind of see how it worked, let's set that out of here. So let me get in a little bit closer here. All right, the LexCorp tow motor. Like I said, I drive one of these at work. I actually drive a tri-wheel. But anyway, neither here nor there. This is really pretty cool. My only complaint, not two complaints, I guess. I understand why they made it do it this way. So you could have the working tow motor with the little rubber band strap. So there'd be no way to hold it down. They probably could have made some type of locking little mechanism to hold that down, but would have put tension on this little elastic rubber band, and it wouldn't have sprung back. So I understand why they did it, so that way you could have the working feature. I wish when they were making the pallet that this thing sets on, that they would have put two pieces under here, kind of like this, which I bet I could get some Legos. So you would have some side stability so this doesn't come flying off. I'll probably have to go through my Lego little pieces that I have and see if I can't get another one of these just so it doesn't fall off from side to side. I could make something so it doesn't fly off forward maybe, but at least side to side, because every time I try and turn it around I end up jettisoning this thing off. But as you can see here, we have the canisters for the Kryptonite, and these are really pretty cool. So you can see them, and then these do come out if you so choose to. So there's the little crystals, which are really pretty cool. And there's a set in the Clash of the Heroes one that I reviewed earlier. So these are pretty cool. So this is something in the movie, and I think I'll talk about it in the comic book that you'll see, which this isn't going to give a spoiler away because you're looking at it right here. So in a lot of the videos that we've seen online already of Batman versus Superman, and then some footage early on of the Batmobile driving through the city or chasing down a truck, I'm wondering in the movie if Batman isn't trying to track down some of the Kryptonite, maybe for his own use or maybe to try and prevent Lex from using it against Superman. We really don't know. This does have a feature here that you can pretend that Batman blows this guy up here. So I'm gonna have to hold on to the back of this so he can fall out here just by pushing this little piece. Breaks off the top of the canopy. The canopy also retracts, so you can get LexCorp driver, tow motor driver, Jimmy. I don't know if that's his name or not. Out, but he's really pretty cool. He does have two heads, has a standard, I'm just working at my job, and then has a has the evil, I've got Kryptonite here, I'm gonna use it on Superman. I love the Lego minifigures. He sits in here pretty easy. See, that's the other thing about the Kryptonite. It wants to fall off. Doesn't really hold on to the steering wheel, but hey, not that bad. The little missiles fire off here. I mean, my tow motor at work doesn't have anything like that. Maybe I'll have to include them. If somebody pulls out in front of me, I can just blast them. So this is pretty neat. And like I said, the tow motor, the lift comes down, so that's pretty cool. Rolls really easy. Never drive with your lift up because you could have a tip. So I'm also a trainer at work, so I have to watch a lot of these videos. So this is making me cringe, going, oh, I would so not do this. But really cool piece. I really like this. So let's roll this guy out of the way. And we'll look at the other henchman here. As the LexCorp. And the other guy, I didn't really show him all that well. Their suits are exactly the same. They're, work uniforms, as it were. He's got a rocket launcher here, which does fire. Maybe. So small to hold on to. So there we go. Normally I don't launch these off, but pretty cool. Sits in his hand really well. He also has two heads, or two different faces. Of course, I decided to put the mean faces on him. And then we kind of go like this. And there we go. It's really pretty cool. The instructions for this guy was with the Batmobile, so probably as tow motor Joe over there is driving away, this guy's going to be firing at Batman or the Batmobile. Again, I'm just assuming, but it must be some type of scene from the movie, or they wouldn't have gone in to do these two particular figures. There could be, 50 guys in the scene, but who knows? So let's bring in the Batmobile. All right, here we are with the Batmobile. How cool is this? It's close to being accurate. Again, it's a Lego. I was actually kind of expecting it to be just a touch bigger. I think that my Riddler Dragster Batmobile is actually going to be bigger than this particular one. So that does disappoint me a little bit. Maybe I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse. It's pretty close to the screen version of the Batman vs. Superman Batmobile. I mean, there's only so much they could do. I was really kind of hoping to have the hubcap or the fender up here, the wheel well going over the top of the tire here. They kind of sort of recreated it right here with these little wings that you kind of see right here. Even though they move, it's supposed to represent that piece kind of coming up and over where you kind of see most of the tire. So there should have been a part back here. Again, it's Lego. It's done pretty correct. You can definitely tell this is the Batman versus Superman Batmobile. Before we take a look at the Batmobile, we'll take a look at the minifigure of Batman, which is really, really pretty cool. You can see the texture that they have in there. Very similar to the New 52 Batman. The bigger chest symbol right there. The belt's a little bit different. I kind of half wondered initially if they were going to put a little gold stripe down here on the boots. Of course they didn't. But in Lego form, I think this Batman looks really pretty cool. And he does have the two heads, mean face, and then standard face Batman. And again, for people that don't know, the white strip is for the eyes. So people always ask, why is there a weird white strip on the head when I take it off? It's because the masks don't line up quite right. I love the new cloth capes that these have rather than the old stiff ones. And old stiff ones here, I'm pulling it off to the side, are these right here from Armored Batman. They crinkle up, they bend, they fold easy, they tear. As opposed to this guy, he can sit in the vehicles. You don't have to worry about crinkling the cape. And half the time, I never put him in the vehicles or the bikes or whatever it was they were riding on because I was always afraid of messing the cape up. But this new material works really, really good. I think it's a good step up for Legos in there, you know, superheroes or, you know, any type of a character that wears a cloth or a cape or a cloak or something like that. Really pretty cool. I love the minifigures. Let's take a look at the Batmobile here. Oh, no, he didn't. It's about to get real. Oh, so cool. I can't wait for this movie. Can't wait to see this car in action. I mean, we've seen it in action in some other spots here, but get to have some full-on chase scenes. I think are going to be really pretty cool. A lot of moving parts on the Batmobile. The guns here up front do fire. Again, fire pretty well. As I'm always launching stuff off here. The nice thing about it is I have a... They gave you quite a few of these for the set, so I did drop one on the floor right there. So I'll pick it up after the review. We'll kind of save that there. So yeah, both those fire. And then you just have some other parts. The fins here in the back do have a little bit of movement to them, which is pretty neat. The fin up here at the top, which I don't believe is an actual part of the actual car. There's not a fin there. I think that's supposed to represent, like I said, the wheel well that goes right here. The wheel well, they didn't do that, replicate it here on this front one. That's fine. The little gun turrets or exhaust ports, I'm not exactly sure what this is. I've got to look at the screen use of the car again to see what that is. Maybe something that kind of pops up and they just kind of have it there in type of a battle mode. The doors I really like on this. Each of the doors hinge up as you would want them to from the movie. So, and they rotate and turn and pivot, which is cool. So you can get one door up, get the other one up as well. And then Batman. We'll look inside the cockpit here real quick before we put Batman in the car. There's no steering wheel, which I was actually kind of bummed about. Generally, sometimes they'll put a steering wheel or something in there, but it's just some, you know, a couple stickers in there, and that's about it. So they put the steering wheel in the tow motor driver, but not in the Batmobile. Normally their attention to detail is really pretty good, but Batman sits in there very well. I think I've got him not laying down far enough in the back. I tried to have him in a more seated position. I think he almost lays in it. There we go. So there's Batman in the Batmobile. The one thing that is kind of a problem, it rolls pretty well with the exception of the way the wheels are. This little piece right, and he comes with the Batarang, right here, this little collar, which you can kind of see, there's an extra one right here, is holding, you know, the wheel from sliding left and right. The wheel wants to rub because of the open spots back here that you're kind of seeing, wants to rub up against this side, or it gets pushed up against the back part of the car. As I had it off frame, I apologize. It doesn't want to turn sometimes. So I kind of wish they would have made this a little bit wider here, so you could have got a second one of these behind the wheel here, so it could have spun more freely. So if it gets up against the side of the car, it doesn't want to roll quite right. So that's my only minor gripe with how the car operates. Other than that, it rolls pretty well as long as the wheels stay pretty much stationary. But you can see all the different moving parts that are here. You see the back of the turbines right back here. You probably saw me in the video going back and forth and putting pieces together and taking pieces off. Like with a lot of Lego vehicles and play sets, it's really hard to read the directions sometimes. Trying to figure out, you know, exactly where they're talking about, and they don't do a really good job of color coordinating the pictures sometimes. That their blacks and grays are really kind of the same color, or if it's a blue or something like that, it really starts to blend in with other pieces. I'm trying to flip through the book here pretty quick to kind of show you what I'm talking about. I probably won't be able to find anything. Here we go. Here's a good example. It's really hard to tell. Like, this is gray, and that is the actual black piece. And not knowing, like, okay, I can tell that's black, but when I'm looking through some of them, like, okay, I'm going to go find this black piece. I'm like, oh, I don't see this black piece. It's actually gray. I mean, it's fairly easy to put together, but there are some times, especially when we're looking at one version, like they don't denote, like here's one section you're putting together, one of these little blue pieces here, and then this piece, and then you have the same image over here, and you see, okay, now we're going to put two of these on. Well, where do these two go? So you're having to go, okay, where is this piece here, not here? So I kind of wish they would, make a circle around it and point like this piece goes here. So you kind of have to like guess sometimes and not getting the exact placement. I was having to count and go, okay, that's 1, 2, 3 spots open. I need 4 here and 2 there. So you probably saw me a couple times put some things together and then take it back off. So aside from a little bit of, mishap of putting this together, this is a fun set, and I love building Legos. Again, I say something every time, that the Legos were one of the very first toys that I ever had, and I loved just building. My wife sometimes when I'm putting these together says, it's cool that you get to build some of this stuff, but they're kind of taking the fun of you just being able to build whatever you want. And you could build whatever you want. You could have all these pieces and build your own type of car or do whatever. But I was forever wanting to build stuff like this with my Legos. And now you can. So I really like this Batman versus Superman set. And I can't wait to get the Batwing set, kind of saving up for that with it being $60. But today we've been taking a look at the Batman vs. Superman Kryptonite Interception, the DC Comics Superheroes Lego set 76045. And as always, this is Rob for Rob Drogues and the Batman Universe signing off, saying we will see you guys next time. Okay, you have been warned. Do not watch the rest of this if you don't want to know. Now, I'm just saying, I don't know if this book is accurate. I have no idea of knowing it. At the time that it is right now, I'm looking at my iPad here. It is Thursday, March 3rd at 10:54 a.m. as when I'm shooting this portion. So you get these comic books, Lego comic books, and they're generally generic. I mean, this isn't a scene out of anything. This is the Harbor Boat Pursuit, which I did recently. At least I hope I've done it recently. If not, I'm going to have to edit that video. I don't know if I have or not. But this is just a little story that they put together for this Lego set. There's really no words here. You see Deathstroke kind of driving away here. And there's Batman and Robin. It's New 52, Dick Grayson Robin, in case anybody's wondering. And there's just a little comic scene that kind of, unfolds. No words, and then it's always showing the Lego sets that they currently have out. So there's like the Joker Funland right there. So they just kind of put stuff together with the Teen Titans. Batmobile right there. Harley Quinn and Robin. So this isn't spoil anything. It's not a real comic. It's just something that Lego does. Like, hey, here's this little mini comic, have fun looking at it, and then here are the sets that they did the little story from. So when it said that there was a mini comic book with this, I'm going to make sure I get back far enough. So we have a Batman versus Superman Lego mini comic. Now, this could just be, let me raise the camera here just a little bit because I'm down a little too low since I was doing the Lego sets. Okay. So, with doing this little mini comic book, I'm half wondering, like, okay, they're probably just going to show the 3 sets that they have, being the Batmobile, the Heroes Collide, and then the Batwing set, of just some images that they are doing. And that's all that it could possibly be. You know, I don't know anymore because I haven't seen the movie. So I'm going to open this up, and I think there are some scenes in here from the trailers that we've seen that started to get me to think, do we kind of know what's going to happen in the movie because of this Lego set? So it'll be interesting to see if Lego got it right or if they're, you know, not. So we'll kind of see here. And it's kind of out of sequence, kind of, sort of here. You see, you know, the bat signal being lit and Batman or Superman coming over. You having their little square off, and then Superman being shot here, which we've kind of seen this a little bit in the trailer. Not entirely sure if it's coming from the turret that you saw here. If I can get this, I've got Superman up here. So this turret that you see with the bat signal, and if you watch this review, I'll talk about this in a second because there's a little green Kryptonite piece that looks like this behind the signal. Why don't I just take this out so you can kind of tell? So there's a little green Kryptonite piece. You know, why green of all pieces for this? And I even said it in this review, like, why would that be there? So let me put that back together. Slide this off to the side. Get to there in a second. So you have Superman using his heat vision here, and Batman's got to his gun, which we just recently saw in the trailer. So in the trailer, the most recent trailer, Superman picks up Batman from the ground, flies him through a building, and then picks him up in midair and then throws him into the bat signal, which we don't see that sequence here. Kind of, sort of. So there, Batman has, you know, the gun. He shoots something at Superman. Superman catches it, and, you know, the trailer kind of ends right there. Here is the sequence. Now, I made mention here that there is the bat signal that is shining a light into Superman. Superman ends up using his heat vision and blows up the bat signal. Now, in the trailer, like I was just talking about, hopefully I had all this on frame right there. So you use the heat vision here. So the bat signal is destroyed. Now, in the trailer, Superman picks up Batman and throws him into the signal. So this all could just be, you know, what it is. You know, like, oh, Lego just did this, and the bat signal does get destroyed, but not destroyed in the manner in which the Lego comic book is telling us. Here's the Interceptor, where Lex Luthor is telling his guys to go get the kryptonite. Batman is driving off. He kind of sees it. So there's some kryptonite there. Vroom, vroom. And then Batman foiling them and then taking the kryptonite, blowing up the tow motor, and Batman running off with the canisters. So I'm half wondering, does Batman find out from Lex that there is kryptonite, and then Superman or Batman is going to use the kryptonite, steals it to be able to use it against Superman? So not entirely sure. Here's a sequence that Lois Lane is taking photos of Lex Luthor. She gets either kidnapped or tries to hold on to the helicopter, and Superman is going to try and fly and catch up with Lex. Gets shot by some kryptonite stuff as falling, and Wonder Woman comes in and catches Superman before he hits the ground. Batman comes in, which it looks like he has kryptonite in the back of the Batwing here. Zeroes in on Superman and Wonder Woman, it looks like, and kind of see that Lex is taking some shots at Batman here, and then they all arrive at the end. Lois falls, Superman catches her, and here we are at the end. So I know this is kind of a horrible, crappy job at explaining the book, but is this going to be an end sequence in the film of how Lex Luthor is defeated? Now, granted, there's no doomsday stuff in this at all. Is Superman going to fall from being affected from the kryptonite and Wonder Woman comes in? Who knows? Is the sequence with the helicopter, because they did make a Lego set with the Batwing and the helicopter and Lois Lane and her camera. So could this be part of a set here, that this is kind of what ends up happening at the end? See that Batman and Superman looks like they're getting ready to fight, and then they end up shaking hands. Lex Luthor's hair comes off here. So, not entirely sure what is going on. I really don't know if this is a spoiler or if this is just some generic images that they put here. But it'll be interesting to see in just a couple weeks when this movie comes out, is how close or accurate they were, or was this just some fun little comic book for somebody to, you know, thumb through before the movie comes out. So, like I said, it could be spoilerish, it could not be spoilerish. If you've watched this far and you get to the movie and go, oh, Rob, I shouldn't have watched your Lego video, I warned you. But then again, I don't know. So, thanks for watching, and me poorly describing this Lego comic, but I think you got the idea. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.